How does an MSP in a small town find leads and close deals? This is a question I get all of the time. Harrison, I'm not in a big city. I'm in a really, really small area. And truth be told, this is going to vary depending on everybody's circumstances and what you qualify as a small town. But I've pulled up some tools here. I'm going to walk through what I would do if I was in your shoes because I did come from a bit of a suburban environment. However, the concepts that I teach are still remain the same. And there are some tips and tricks that I'm going to be giving away in this video for you to go find leads. How are you doing? My name is Harrison Barrett from growth-generators.com. We help MSPs grow, whether it's sales training, marketing training, or even business operations. Before I get into today's video, I do want to direct your attention over to growth-generators.com. Little hyphen in there, but there's a ton of things from our programs, MSP Heroes, which truthfully we keep hearing these incredible. One of our members bought a plane from there. So, and then we have a launch pad for brand new MSPs. But over at our resources area, you could grab tons of free things. You could join our Discord, growth-generators.com/Discord, or you could just grab one of the free tools that we've made, or even check out other tools that we recommend on here that will help your MSP, including a pricing masterclass where you do get a pricing calculator. Probably should include that on there now that I'm thinking about it. All it's just incredible the tools that we've been able to put together and the feedback that we keep hearing. So I want to say thank you for those of you guys that reach out to us and say, "Hey, this has helped us." Because truthfully, it lights up my day. It's the best thing I get to hear. So let's talk about finding leads. Now, the most important thing is understanding your market. And before somebody's like, hey, he's going to talk about the buyer persona. In this case, I'm actually not going to talk about the buyer persona. The buyer persona works the best if you're in a more kind of mid-sized town area to a city. Now, I'm not saying it's not important in the case of going through and living in a small town, and I will pull it up because I do think it is important. However, if you don't have a buyer persona, you don't know who you're going after, you're not going to go through and fill out one of these because if you're in a super small town, there might not be that many businesses in each vertical. But it's important to understand what your area has. So use ChatGPT, use some research skills, and you have to figure out why your small town is different. Do you have more medical facilities? Do you have more manufacturing? So, where I am, I live in an area called Belmont, North Carolina. And the reason why I bring that up is because in Belmont, North Carolina, way back in the day, we live a part of what's called Gaston County. And I didn't know this until I moved here, but Gaston County was known for their milling, their manufacturing, and specifically textiles. So there is still a lot of textile manufacturing that happens where I am. Now it's gotten a little more spread out because I am fairly close to Charlotte City, but these are things that only I would know, just like only you would know. So as you go through a buyer persona and just think about who are these people, what do they do, and where are they located? Demographics, psychographics, behaviors and habits, and so much more. There's a whole second page. There is a link down below to grab a buyer persona. But you might not be able to say, hey, I want just this one super specific client. And in this case, you might have to be a little bit more of a generalist instead of saying, hey, I'm going to just run down the path of going after this hyper specific customer. Now, you want to think about who would be a great fit for you. You can't just have one dream customer. You can't have one buyer persona. You're going to need to figure out, are they local law firms, accountants, medical firms, any business with compliance needs if you want to do compliance. Maybe you realize that you're in an area where there's a ton of retail. Yeah, there's not that much money in retail, but hey, a lot of nickels still makes a dollar, right? So we have to keep that in mind. And truth be told, there are so many hidden little industries even in my own area. I didn't realize how much manufacturing was still here until I did my research just to see. I was just curious because I make YouTube videos for a living kind of. I was like, I wonder what's actually here. Let me do the legwork before I go out and give people advice. But you have to be able to go through that process. Now, the second part of this whole thing, after you kind of figure out understanding your marketing, knowing who's in your market, we need to come up with some lead generation strategies. Now, I'm always still going to recommend the normal stuff, putting lead magnets on your website, creating great content on your website. I'm going to get to that. But local networking and partnerships are going to be super, super important. Everybody knows everybody in a small town. At least that's how it was where I came from originally on Long Island. That was considered a small town, right? So, what I would recommend is if you haven't already, check out your local chamber of commerce. I'm a part of this local chamber of commerce called the Montcross Area Chamber of Commerce. I am purely a part of it because it gets me out of the house because there's really not too many MSPs in there. But the coolest part is I am still a part of a chamber of commerce. Every chamber of commerce is going to be different. Some are going to be rock stars, some are not going to be so successful. I happen to be in one. They're not what I would consider a rock star chamber of commerce. Nothing against them, but I'd love to see them meet more and more. But that doesn't mean I can't have an impact. If I was an MSP and there was a local chamber of commerce and they didn't meet that much, I would be throwing gas on the fire to get them to meet more, to get them to do more events, to get them out networking more often because there's great people in there. There's probably mortgage brokers, insurance brokers, CPAs, all of that good stuff in there. There might even be doctors, dentists, and all of that as well. So leverage your local chamber. It's pretty uncommon to see a small town not have a local chamber of commerce. But I would also always check to see if you have a LETIP in your area, letip.com. And it's a professional networking group, just as what is called BNI. I think it's BNI stands for Business Networking International, if I remember correctly. They're basically the same thing, six in one, half a dozen in the other. They exist in some small towns. They're not in every small town. And the other thing I would do too is check on, in this case, Alignable, right? Use alignable.com and go in there. There's a whole area for events on there that talk about events in your area. Now, this is not going to be correct because I haven't updated my profile yet to where I live, but there are tons of events that are going on. And the nice part about Alignable is it's definitely more geared towards smaller businesses, and that's where you can have a ton of success. Next is going to be Google My Business and local SEO. If you aren't leveraging some kind of marketing, right, to get your business out there, and I just pulled it up here just so you can see, you should have a Google My Business. And of course, I didn't pull it up yet. I will grab it. There it is. So, you need to have a Google My Business. Your Google My Business should be filled to the brim with great information talking about it, right? In this case, if you go to view profile, and if you haven't made one, I have plenty of videos on how to make a Google My Business. But leverage Google My Business, especially in a small town. This should probably be your number two thing that you're spending all of your attention on after networking, truthfully, because the amount of people that can find you and you can get in front of is incredible. And it doesn't matter if you do or you don't want to share your address. You could still, if you have a friend that has a business, see if you could bunk up with them. And if you don't, use your home address. If you're in a really small town, it's probably not going to be a big deal for you at all. But use a Google My Business. Treat it almost as a social media profile where once a month, maybe you go in and add new pictures of what you're doing, update the content just to let Google know it's fresh and moving. But add pictures. It is so incredibly important. I can't stress that enough. But also add things on your website, things that are like your type of content focus. So best IT support or best tech support or best managed service provider in your town, right? Tech, you could think of a million variations of that. You probably don't want to do break fix, but in a small town, you might have to do a little bit of break fix to get your first initial clients to get them to then pay you on a monthly basis. But I'm a huge fan of direct outreach. Cold emailing, You probably don't need anything crazy. If you do want to go check out, I do like Lemlist. There's another program called Instantly if you do want to cold email. But truth be told, there's probably not that many businesses in your area that you need to go through and use a mass cold emailing tool. You could use your own inbox and just send people emails and say, "Hey, so and so, it was great to talk to you," or, "I'm in the area," whatever it is. Come up with something creative. We have tons of training in our Heroes program, and there's tons of stuff on this YouTube channel. But also, don't hesitate to pick up the phone. In a small town, yeah, you might get through, you might not get through, but that's the risk. You can make hundreds of cold calls. My best days making cold calls, I would call between 150 and 200 people per day. And that is not even a mild exaggeration. Now, granted, the higher numbers if they're not answering, and the lower numbers if I'm getting people on the calls, which is great. But this is a deadly, deadly sales weapon. If you aren't leveraging your cell phone and picking up the phone to call people, you are completely missing out. And if you want to go out, take out your legs, go door knock. It is imperative to go door knock. I know some people get super nervous about showing up, but as long as there's no soliciting sign, go in there smiling, be happy, and if you want, bring them donuts, bring them coffee, something like that, especially if it's a really good potential client for you. Do something a little extra special. But there is nothing stopping you from going door knocking, talking to people, seeing and having that conversation. You will get so incredibly far just by going to their door, knocking on it, asking to speak to the owner. Do some research first. It probably helps to go and know who you want to talk to, but it is super, super important. And if you have customers, leverage word of mouth and ask for referrals. Not something crappy like, "Hey, we'll give you $100 if a business refers us." No, "Hey, I'll give you $1,000. Hey, I'll give you an entire month for free, and I'll give them a month for free." Make it a mouth-wateringly good referral. That way they do actually refer you. Because truth be told, every dollar helps in today's economy, but $100 doesn't go that far anymore, unfortunately. And then let's talk about closing the actual deals because it is a little bit different, although the sales process is still the same. And if you don't have a battle card yet from our website, growth-generators.com, under /resources, there is a battle card in here, and hopefully I could find it fairly quickly. But I would highly recommend getting a battle card. And the only reason why I say that is it literally gives you the sales process, step by step, what you need to build inside of your CRM to not lose deals, not lose track of deals, right? We want to make sure that we're selling peace of mind and not just IT services. Some people have irrational fears, but it's your job to sell them solutions, even if their fears are what you would consider irrational. And offer if you want to go crazy, offer a trial, offer a free assessment, get creative. Hey, our first 60 days or 90 days or month to month, because we want to make sure that you absolutely love our services before you lock in for a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contract. And you want to position yourself as a local expert. It's not that hard to position yourself as a local expert. I was literally just working with one of our MSP heroes, and his competition is I'm trying to be nice, but the competition is barely existent. The website has a contact page, a homepage, which has barely any information on it, and an about us page. There's not even services, who they work with, nothing. It is incredibly easy to blow past other people and position yourself as the local expert. Blog posts are always good, LinkedIn posts, and connect with people on LinkedIn. Educate the business owners. Talk to them about technology problems that happen in your area. Talk about the history of it. If you're the first area in your state to get gig internet, whatever it is, or get Starlink, come up with something creative and teach people. People hate to be sold, but they love to learn. They love to be educated. And when they're ready, they're going to go to those people that educate them and teach them for information and to hand them their money. So it's important. You want to stand out from your competitors, be transparent with your pricing, going out and just have one kind of set price or use a pricing calculator, know what your tiers are if you're doing a good, better, best, and use testimonials. Get those testimonials as early as you can because they will travel and ask for referrals. But I hope you found some value in this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Love the heck out of you guys, as always, for watching the videos. Sorry I took a day off. I've been super, super busy. I'm working on a ton of stuff for the membership here. And truth be told, I've just been working till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.